All right, John, I appreciate you taking this morning on a Sunday at that too, to talk about real estate investing, talk about, your journey. And so if you could just tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Been real estate investing for the past, really 10 years, but really primarily focusing on buying holds in the past 3 years. So we pretty much just invest in real estate. That's it. We've had a few other business ventures in the past that really didn't work out. Lessons learned pretty much. And now we just focus on real estate, man. That's our main thing.
And then what got you into real estate?
Man, I would say honestly the freedom. I know a lot of people say, freedom isn't really a thing in real estate. You're always working, always doing something. That's my little man right there. But man, honestly, the residual income, being able to enjoy time at home with the kids. I got 3 kids, and really just, I had a car lot for 5 years, so I always liked the the income, the producing income, the residual income, and I really just wanted to scale it from there. And housing is pretty much the only other thing, aside from just bringing it from, I guess, a smaller level to a bigger level when you get into, housing versus a car lot.
Yeah. And I think from what you was telling me, you said you had 17 rentals right now.
Yeah, we got 17 rentals right now. Yep.
Are they mostly a single family or multifamily?
Most of them are, they're all single family. I have a few mobile homes on their own land, nothing in parks. And then we have some houses as well. But we don't have any multifamily units, no duplexes, apartment complexes, or nothing like that.
Is that by preference, or is this what's in the market in that area?
I pick up whatever deals make sense, whatever numbers make sense is my thing, man. I'm a numbers guy. If I found multifamilies that would pay me, what these single families and mobile homes are, then I would scoop them up. But right now, we just nitpick and cherry pick our deals. So we can kind of pick and choose what we like and what numbers make sense to us.
What type of factors do you take into place when you are purchasing these single family homes? Because like I myself, I like multifamily, but I do know some people that kind of stick with the single family home when it comes to real estate investing.
Like I said, really the numbers, man, the numbers got to make sense. I like to, I borrow hard money at 10%. So I like to at least double that. If I'm not making at least 20% ROI, then I really don't really mess with it. I'll wholesale them. If not, if the numbers don't make sense, but it's all a numbers game, honestly, man. It's like if the numbers make sense, then we scoop them up.
All right, so cool. And the cool thing about that is too, you have a different option. So if it doesn't fit your criteria, then you'll wholesale it. Which for people that don't know, wholesaling is you're not necessarily keeping the home yourself. You just have a purchase agreement with the seller saying that you have equitable rights to it, and then you sell to somebody else for more money. So you could get it for 50 grand and then sell it to somebody else for 70. Yeah.
We do like 1 to 2 wholesale deals a month.
Do you how do you find your leads?
All our stuff is word of mouth, and a hot thing for me is yard sales. Honestly, man, I go to a lot of yard sales. I'll stop at a lot of yard sales and just start talking to owners and talking to people. But we get anywhere from like probably I would say 3 to 7 leads a month, just off word of mouth and doing our own thing. We door knock every now and then, but we really don't do any crazy paid marketing. We were cold calling at first. I was doing it all myself, but I did get some deals off it. It was a lot of work. So right now I'm actually putting together a team in the Philippines to start cold calling for us to really vamp up our business.
I keep hearing about that, about people getting the Philippine employees in order to help with the cold calling, or sometimes they do the cold texting as well. Can you explain how that helps your business, and like what type of I guess structure you're setting in place to able to do that so you can be more hands off?
Well, really, I mean, yeah, first off, it's not you doing it yourself. So you're really just putting someone where you would be, or what I was doing. I was sitting at my kitchen table when my kids were running around the house calling lists by hand, literally sitting there calling everyone. That was before I even knew what a robo-dialer was. And that was like probably 5 years ago, probably 3 to 5 years ago. And we got deals off it, but so what you're doing is you're replacing yourself, and they're cheap over there. I think what we set up right now is we have 5 callers. It's like $6 an hour per person. And then we also have a whole team managing them as well. We haven't started it yet. I have a friend who does it. He's very, very, very successful doing it. and he's like, dude, do it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
I haven't implemented it yet. I'll be doing it real soon though.
I've heard nothing but great things about that when it comes to people outsourcing. So because obviously you're one person, right? So having 5 people doing it helps out a lot. And $6 an hour is not bad either, especially when you're converting these leads into, $15,000-$20,000. Anything that you end up closing down. What's the so you're in the what city are
Yeah,
you
and you're
in?
not really. I am in St. Petersburg,
St. Petersburg,
so Tampa area.
Tampa.
Yeah. A lot of people, some people don't know really St. Pete, but Tampa's right. We're right over the bridge from Tampa.
And then for you, we spoke a little bit about like the housing market as far as the numbers making sense in your area, as far as how much it costs, and then how much you having to rent it out for. Does the rent in your area go up pretty steadily, or is it's kind of it stays the same for throughout the years?
Yeah. No, man, it's increased like crazy over the past, I would say, 3 years. Really has. Like, I honestly, it's probably 30% from 3 years ago.
Oh wow,
So that's why,
yeah, that's a
for
lot.
people who are in the rental game, yeah, it is. And I don't see it really. I mean, I don't see it changing year over year. We really don't increase our rents. If we have a good tenant, we really like, we don't like increasing our rents too much. We might $50, $50, $75 over the course of a couple years. But if we have a good paying tenant and we're making, we're clearing a good ROI and we know we're making 30% return on our investment on a property, it's like, let's just keep them in there. They're paying good. They're good tenants. If they're an issue, it's a
Yeah,
different story.
yeah.
We might to get them to go.
Yeah,
But
no, and that is a strategy that I've seen on both ends. You either, hey, look, these guys have been really good to us, so yeah, we're not going to increase it on them crazy. Or yeah, if you do want to tenant out of there, hey, you know what? I'm just going to mark it up to the market value, and I know that's probably going to deter them from renewing their
yeah,
lease. Sometimes you get surprised, and they're like, all right, cool, I'll stay. I'll still do it, but I've usually seen it.
we're
They
not
they
scared
try
of
to
not
get out.
renewing either.
Say
Yeah,
again.
we're not scared to not renew a lease either. Like we'll straight up tell them, like, if we know a tenant's a pain in the butt, we're like, yo, we ain't renewing the lease with you. We'll tell them. So we keep it real.
And so within how long you been investing for, real estate investing for?
And the buy and holds, I've been doing it for about 2 years, but we've been wholesaling for about 5. We tried wholesaling, I would say, for the past 5 years. For the first couple, we really didn't do nothing, man. I just, I tried and tried and tried, and that's why I tell people never give up, because literally we tried it and tried this and tried that and tried this, and nothing worked. And finally, about 2.5, 3 years ago, it really started popping off, and then I started buying, keeping some of the deals instead of wholesaling them. We would just cherry pick them and keep the best ones and wholesale the rest.
And so what made you want to not only wholesale, but also go to buying and holding? What led you to doing that?
The passive income, going back to where I was, like I said, I had a car lot years ago, and I just, it's kind of the same thing, just on a bigger scale. So I've always wanted to be in real estate, man. Ever since a kid, I've always, I've hustled my butt off when I was a kid, and I've just always wanted to be in real estate. I've always wanted to own real estate, for the future, and just the passive income mainly.
Yeah. And
And then
so
when
I
I
think,
see what
yeah.
what rents are in our area, it's crazy. It's like, you got to do it.
No, yeah, because I'm not familiar with the Florida market, but when I was watching, some of your videos, I saw that you were kind of all over different parts of Florida, or at least kind of branching out from not just your local area. And so I'm like, well, maybe Florida is something I might want to look into, because I know Jacksonville, Florida, the properties out there are not that expensive. You familiar with the Jacksonville, Florida area?
I don't really deal up north. I primarily stay in our market. If I wholesale deals, I've wholesale deals in other markets, but buy and holds, I kind of just stick to our market.
That makes sense. I would rather do that too. I would probably rather wholesale in a market I'm not most familiar with before I would buy and hold. That probably makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah,
how were you able to amass 17 units in, you said, a year or 2 years?
2 years. Yeah, we're right at the 2 year mark. Um, The BRRRR method, man, really. We started with that. We have a private money lender that we work with. We do pay 10% interest on our mortgages that we borrow from that private money lender. But like I said, our real estate market is insane. So our rental market is insane. So we're able to make some money off it. Off the car lot is really how I started. You know, we got bought out years ago when
Okay.
I built the car lot up pretty much from the ground up. We got bought out from that, and I took all that and put it right into the market. 5 years ago, flipped a few houses. We had a chunk of change, and then we just started buying them up. And then we started pulling money out and using that money to buy other properties, and kind of kept it going.
All right. So with the BRRRR method in 17 properties in 2 years, are you like you managing two birds at a time? How's that working?
No, I mean, so I bought my first property cash. I brought my first 4 properties cash. They were cheaper properties. They were mobile homes on their own land.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in a park. I own the dirt under them. Like I said, the very first one I bought was, I think, $44,000. I paid for it. I put about $8,000 into it, and that one we rented out for the first year for like $1,100 a month. And then I bought the neighbors, and then I bought another neighbors, and I kept buying them up. And then I owned all those outright. And then I met a private money lender about probably 6 months after I started buying those, and we did a bigger deal. It was like a $200,000 deal that we ended up wholesaling. But we bought it and closed on it, and then we had to wait like 6 months. I really wouldn't call it a wholesale. I'd call it a flip with no repairs done, pretty much. But we
Okay.
did have to close on it. That one we cleared a good chunk of change on. They made good money on it, and then they just kept wanting to invest. So I offered them the mobile homes. I never thought anybody would ever want to, lend money on mobile homes, but I was wrong. I showed them the
Oh,
deals. I showed them what we're renting them for, and they just started lending me money on these mobile homes. And then we just kind
yeah,
of used that
yeah,
money to keep going with it, really.
yeah. I've never heard of anybody doing that either. I never heard of anybody lending money on mobile homes, and so it sounds like you took a big it sounds like you took a risk on yourself and
Yeah,
you cashed in.
private money is what you want.
You're the first person to tell me that somebody took out a loan on mobile homes. I never heard of anybody doing that.
Yeah, private money. Your Fannie Mae, Fannie and Freddie aren't going to borrow. They're not going to lend you money on mobile homes. They don't do that. There are other companies who do mobile homes, traditional conventional loans. They're closer to 8, 9, 10%. But I deal with private money because it's much easier. It's straightforward. I go and eat dinner at my lender's homes. I get stuff like that. So we have a relationship a little different than your average lender and investor relationship.
Yeah, so that's interesting because, the couple people I wanted to get into a flip, and I talked to a few private money lenders in the area, and one of them in particular, he told me that he's like, "Hey, look, if I'm going to sit down and do this with you, like I want you to have a binder with everything, how much everything's going to cost." And he and I was going to have to pay him $100 just to sit down with me in order to for him, I guess, to take me serious. But what I'm realizing is it is a relationship aspect. It's kind of because both, I guess, you're kind of afraid of each other. I guess starting off like, hey, is this person going to help me? And then I guess the private money lender is like, yo, is this guy going to be a bust? And so that's one relationship that I'm kind of looking forward to kind of experiencing
For
because
sure.
I see that once it goes well, then it's like a well-oiled machine. Because I hear that you're not the first person I've heard where
Oh
they
yeah.
say, yeah, like I have a great relationship with my private money lender, and we love each other, like we're hanging out all the time and everything. But what do you say to people that are afraid of doing private money lending because they're afraid they won't meet a deadline or they're gonna have to pay the interest on a on a monthly basis while they're trying to rehab this home?
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Okay.
I mean, just to make sure you're conservative within your own means. If there's something you don't think you can do, don't do it. Don't put someone else's money at risk. We raise money. We don't only have one. We have several private money lenders, and we kind of just we target all. Our private money lender isn't a guru who has millions and millions and millions of dollars and drives Lamborghinis and Mercedes. It's your average working couple who's been working for 20, 30 years, who's close to retirement, who's got money saved up, who's looking to make more than 1 or 2% in their 401k. that's what my private money lenders were. They had like 400 grand saved up, and they're actually able to retire. They were supposed to retire in 15 years, and after investing with me for 2 years, like 3 months ago.
You said after
He's like
investing.
he's on track because we have his 5-year balloon set up. So with me for 2 years, yeah, he's made quite a bit of money. We did a few flips together and stuff like that as well.
So he's able to retire now after investing with you for 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
What happened was he was working with Honeywell, and with COVID, what was going on with COVID, they were laying off a bunch of people. So he's like, I already know that my plan was to retire in 5 years. His plan was to retire in 5 years after starting investing with us because we cut it down. We pretty much with what he was making. They were making an extra, I think, 40 grand a year or something like that, 35 or 40 grand a year investing with me.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, we can retire in 5 years versus our 15-year plan because we were only making 1 to 2% on their 401k or whatever, wherever they had their money invested. And they offered, I guess Honeywell offered. They said, is anybody going to volunteer? They were laying off a bunch of people with COVID going on, and he volunteered pretty much. And he's like, I'm retiring anyways. I plan on retiring, so I'm going to volunteer. And they gave him an extra check or something like that. I don't exactly know the details, but he's pretty much he's retired. He's completely retired now. And I'm not saying it's just because of me, but I mean it had a lot to do with it for sure because they're making a good extra chunk of change every year. When you're making 40 grand extra a year plus your retirement. Plus the wife's still working. They're doing well.
Yeah, because and that's the beauty in real estate, right? Everybody, you don't have to be the nitty gritty person trying to do the flip or even involved in doing a buy and hold. You can invest in another investor and pretty much be hands off and make money, and make money back. What type of vetting
100%.
process did they do with you in order to say, hey, we trust this guy?
So I reached out to them. How we met was I have a friend who owns about 8 mobile home parks, a big AC company here, very, very well-to-do gentleman. And I reached out to him because I had a deal come up. I had a seller that wanted to sell me their property. Their house was going to auction the following week. They were like 3 years behind in foreclosure. They were going to lose their house, and they reached out to me. It was one of my friend's aunts. And I didn't know what to do at the time. I was like, man, I don't know what to do. But all I know is they wanted to sell me their house that was worth $350,000 for a couple $100,000. They only owed like 90 on it. So they're like, we'll take like 180 or 190 for it at the time. And I reached out to them. There's more to that story. That's a whole different story we can get into later. But I reached out to them, or I reached out to Jim, who was my friend that owns the mobile home parks and stuff like that. And he's like, I really don't have the funds. I only had at the time like 50 grand to play with, and I needed someone to lend me the rest. And he said, I have Steve and Hillary, who are my good friends, my neighbors, who've been looking to find someone to invest with and build a relationship with. And I reached out to them, and they're like, hey, can we grab lunch tomorrow? And we grabbed lunch. We talked about the deal. I gave them the address. They looked up the numbers. They're like, yo, we're lending you $170,000 on a property that's worth double that. So if you don't pay, then we're good. We're gonna make money. So I talked to them. I kind of told them, gave them a whole rundown of what I've been doing. I think at that time we only had like 7 rentals at that time. That was a little over a year ago. That was May of 19. And they were cool with it. They were like, hey, let's run with it. So that was I think that was a Thursday. So we went and closed it. We closed on it, or no, I think it was a Wednesday. We closed on it the following Friday. The auction was set for the following Tuesday, and Memorial Day was Monday. So we literally got it done. We made it happen. We closed on it. The auction got canceled on Tuesday, and we were good. So that was pretty much all it was. That deal went through, and then they kept doing a few other deals with me in the during that time. But really there was, I would say there's no vetting. They kind of trusted me and the deal. That was a huge thing. The deal is really what it was, man. Honestly, I wouldn't say, I didn't sell them. It was the deal that sold them.
Interesting.
For sure.
Because I think people feel like they got to kind of sell themselves, but yeah, you're right. The attitude is kind of, hey, if you don't work out, then we doubled. We put 170 and it's worth double that. Yeah. So I think we'll figure something else. Yeah,
we ended up selling it. Yeah, we sold that same property. We ended up paying $210 for it. Like I said, there's a big story behind that one. We ended up paying $210 for it. We had to hold on to it for a year because of issues we had with the seller not wanting to leave and all kinds of shit. And but we ended up selling it this year. We bought it May of 19, and we sold it this year for 340. So on that deal, we actually cleared like 107,000 total after everything.
Awesome.
After paying the investor, they made 17,000 on it as well over the course of that year.
Do you do a 1031 exchange with these homes, or you pay the taxes when you sell these homes?
We do the 1031. Our accountant handles all that.
Nice.
Yeah, our accountant does all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those that don't know,
everything goes right back.
Say again.
I say everything just goes right back into investing. We don't clear nothing. Everything goes right back into the game. Whether it's a flip, whether it's a rental, whatever it is. But like I said, our accountant handles all that. That's why I pay him for.
True. And so, for those that don't know, a 1031 exchange is when any profits that you make over a home, you have to identify, what home you want to buy within the next 3 months or so, and then you just use the profits for the next home that you buy. So in John's case, like if you say, hey, I made 100 grand, hey, accountant, this 100 grand, let's just make sure that this goes towards the next property, and then you could scale up if you want, or something similar to what you already have. But I think it's a great strategy to make sure that you're not paying taxable income on those profits, and it's a good way of keeping the money in house. So with the BRRRR strategy, what part do you find the hardest in that process? Is it the rehabbing part? Is it the financing part?
Yeah, one of my favorite BRRRRs that I've personally done was a property we bought. It was a mobile home on land. And a lot of cities and a lot of states, you got these mobile homes that are on their own dirt and they're, that you own the property. It's not necessarily in a mobile home park, because you get a lot of people who ask, is it in a park? Is it in a park? You think mobile home, you think a park. Well, in this situation, it's not at all. I don't buy anything in mobile home parks. We only buy the dirt. So this one we purchased for 18 grand with closing costs and everything. I think it was like 20,000 after everything. And we put 9,000 in rehab. So we had about a $29,000 total investment into this one, and we rented out for $950 a month. So all in all, the cash on cash is great. The $30,000 investment, $950 a month. Anybody wants that.
Yeah.
So our overhead might be $200 a month with taxes and insurance, and then we could throw, we could even say $300 a month with maintenance and stuff like that. Which our maintenance is closer to like 6%, not 10%.
Yeah.
So, but that one we rented out. I bought that one 2 years ago. That was one of the first ones I bought. We rented that out for $950 for the first year. So we recovered damn near 10 grand from our initial investment. That property, after I rehabbed it, was worth, I think it's worth right now, it's worth at least 75 to 80 grand. Yeah, our market's crazy, man. When people are like, a mobile home worth that much money? Well, the dirt alone's worth at least 60, 75. So, and this one right here is like 10 minutes from the beach. It's in a great area. It's just a mobile home, and we make them look good. So I ended up borrowing 30 grand on that deal. So I pretty much was positive 10,000 after I borrowed that 30 grand. And I took that 30 and I bought another deal with it. I paid 42,000 for the other deal. And then we rent that one out for $1,200 a month. So really off that initial $30,000 investment, we were able to buy 2 properties in a sense, if you really break down and do the numbers, because we recovered the 10 grand from the first year renting it out, and then we borrowed the 30, put that money into another deal. So that's one of my favorite ones. And then one that we're currently doing right now, we haven't closed on the refi yet, but I bought this one about 3 weeks ago. We paid 86,000 for this one, and I got right at 100,000 all in invested into it. And we are using that. We're borrowing. It just got appraised at 140, so we're walking away with, I think, a little over 100,000 from the bank after our cost to close and stuff like that.
Cash out.
Yeah, exactly. Cash out. Our interest rate's about 4% on that one.
Oh, okay.
Our payment's only $600 a month, and that's with everything. That's PITI. That's everything. So we're taking that 100 grand. The city allows us to build an auxiliary dwelling unit, or accessory ADU. I think they call it
I think it's auxiliary
or accessory. I don't know, whatever it is. It's a dwelling unit in the back. So we can build a full dwelling unit. We're going to take that 100 grand, use that to build another unit in the back. And that one's going to, the first unit rents for $1,500 a month. We'll get that all day. We actually are starting to market it. I got professional pictures being done tomorrow. Actually, right when I'm done with this, I'm going over there and checking it out. And I can even jump on a FaceTime or whatever, and I can show you the property or whatever if you want, and
Yeah,
show
that'd
you.
be awesome.
Yeah, we're taking $100,000 and we're building a unit in the back. So in a sense, we're gonna have $3,000 coming in. Our payment $600 a month. So we'll have a $2,400 cash. We'll be cash flowing about $2,400 off of initial investment of $100,000. So really, people are like, "What do you mean initial investment of $100,000? You're borrowing another $100,000 from the bank." But really, it's our initial investment is what created this $2,400 cash flow. That's before maintenance, but we do all our own property management.
Yeah, that was my next question. You manage all your properties?
We manage it, every single one. Yeah. So my fiance, that's what she does. She does all the back end stuff. I do the front end. So we're like a restaurant. She's the cook and I'm the server. So I find the deals. I do all that. I put them together. I manage the flips. I get pictures done. Everything gets handed over to her. She starts marketing it, gets a tenant in there, does application process. She collects the payments and handles everything from there. Even repairs afterwards, even maintenance repairs. Tenant takes pictures of issues. They send it over to her. She sends it over to whether it's a plumber, whether it's our handyman, whoever it is, and it goes from there. It's nice, man. We're figuring it all out as well. So
some would say you already got it figured out. But
yeah.
Is there always a learning process though? For
there
sure.
Is, man. People are like, when I talk, they're like, "You sound organized, man. You should see our office / laundry room." It's, we saying again, some would have a storefront right now, or an actual office with, we don't do that. We don't want overhead. We want to keep it as simple as possible. We got a house. We can deal with it here. It's not a big deal. At least now, once we get up to 50, 60 properties, we'll have an on-call maintenance guy. We'll have a salaried maintenance person and stuff like that. But right now we're just winging it, and it's working out well. It's good. We like it.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you breaking that down, because it gives everybody kind of a perspective of how the numbers work, especially with mobile homes. A lot of people they think they got to buy an apartment building or a single family home to get it started, but mobile homes are pretty cheap. I think out here I could get one for like 10 grand.
Yeah, see, man, that's what I mean. So what I would suggest, so in your area, that mobile home you can buy for 10 grand, is that like a super rural area, or is it not so, is it close to Walmart? Is it close to grocery stores, or
yeah, it's close to grocery stores.
So I mean, what would that, and you would own the land on that?
Nah, so some of them, most of them that I saw, I would not.
Okay, see, that's what I always advise people: don't buy mobile home parks, because you have lot rent, and then you got to deal with the mobile home park. And a lot of mobile home parks don't want you to sublease; they want the owner to live there. So I don't want to deal with any mobile home parks. I don't want anybody to tell me what I can and cannot do ever. So if I can avoid that, I'm going to avoid that at all costs.
I saw one 3-bedroom. It was like $4,000 more. It was like $14,000 on Craigslist, where it was like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it was on its own land.
Yeah. See, I would focus on that, because like a lot of people are like, well, we don't buy mobile homes because they don't appreciate. But they don't got to appreciate if it's paying you the way they're paying me. You know what I mean? I don't care about appreciation. No matter what, the land is going to be worth no less than what it is. The land has value no matter what.
Yeah, true. And then cash flow, especially if you're trying to quit your day job, cash flow is going to be what matters.
I started with mobile homes, man. That's it. I always started. I bought one for 44,000, like we mentioned earlier, and I rented out for $1,100 a month. So if you had that, if you could buy 2, 3, 4 of those, you got people who are buying $200,000 properties and they're only renting them out for $1,500 a month.
Yeah, so, this is true.
It depends what angle you want to go, but if I always recommend, hey, look into the mobile homes in your market and just get them going. Just clean them up, make them look good, make that person who's renting it, make them feel like they're in a nice place. Don't just go in and just put it together. We make them look good. So
yeah,
that's the thing with us too. We make them look real good. So like you said earlier, you could jump on our Facebook and stuff like that, and you could see like the projects we've done, and I posted a few in the BRRRR group and stuff like that of the BRRRRs we've done.
Yeah, that's why I was actually seeing your stuff on the BRRRR's Facebook group. Everybody kind of shows what they did, and kind of goes a brief bit over their numbers, and that's where Amira was able to find you and start chatting it up with you, because we're really trying to educate people on finances and some self-development, and then real estate, because I think that all kind of encompasses everything. You can't, if you didn't get past the mental barrier of I need to be able to get out of my comfort zone and reach out and do things that you probably didn't even know was possible when you were younger, then you wouldn't be where you're at today. So yeah, real estate is, obviously you want to make sure your numbers is good, but then there's also some mental and emotional factors that come into play. And obviously, right, you don't want to be in $1 million in debt and you only got $30 in your pocket, and then you say, I want to be a real estate investor. So you kind of gotta have some financial stability before you want to get started. Do you shop around for refinancing, or do you go through the same loan company or bank?
Well, I literally just started doing the, refinancing my single family homes with traditional mortgages. So what we're doing is any one person can have up to 10 mortgages under their personal name, a conventional mortgage. That's, at least here in Florida. I'm not sure if that's nationwide. I don't know how that works exactly, but I know that here in Florida, we can have, I think that is nationwide. I think it don't matter where you are. You can have, as long as your income, allows it, as long as you're making enough money to, and your debt to income, all meets the criteria, you can have up to nine or 10 mortgages under your personal name. So that's what we just started doing now with a few of our single family homes, is we're actually refinancing those, and we're getting those interest rates down to like 4%, 3%. And we are, we're clearing 20-30% ROI.
The cool thing about refinance, especially right now, because the interest rates are like really, really low, is if obviously if the math makes sense, once you refinance, you're providing, and the interest rates are able to go down one point and a half, you're able to have more cash flow, because we did that and we were able to lower our mortgage by $110. So now I just made another $1,300 a year because of a refinance. So it's crazy. Once you it's like a snowball effect. Once you start building and scaling, then you're able to, like, out of your 17 rentals, you could say, hey, like 5 of these can get refinanced. And then now let's just say it was an extra $100, 1,200 times 5, you just increase your income by $6,000 a year for just filling out paperwork.
Did you do a rate and term?
Yes.
Did you do a rate and term, or did you do a cash out when you did that?
Nah, just rate and term for that one. Was waiting to see, because we're trying to do a cash refi for duplex. It is worth about 160, and we have about 101 left on it. So, but the interest rates weren't making sense at the beginning of the year, around when COVID first started. And the mortgage companies we were talking to, I guess they're all kind of skittish when it like being in the situation that's going on. But I saw that the interest rates have dropped even more now to like 2.5%, 3%. So we'll look at it again, because with 50 grand of equity, we could do something with that. And I think it's at a 5.1% interest rate.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think right now the properties in our area are inflated. They're like, there was a quadruplex that I put in a offer for. It was going for 145. I put in for 150, and somebody beat me out by, I think, a couple grand. I was in second place. So right now I think everything's overpriced, and I'm just waiting for things to kind of go down, because I don't want to be upside down in a few months. That's just my prediction. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think a lot of these homes are going to end up going down at least 10, 15% in my area come February, March timeframe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about the same. Yeah, I think it might be closer to the end of the year next
Okay.
year. But yeah, I think we're going to definitely, I don't think we're going to crash, but we'll have a little correction just because things are inflated. People are buying things impulsively big time right now. A lot of people are buying stuff just because they want to be investing, or they just want it. You know what I mean?
And interest rates are
We'll see
low
what
right
happens.
now. So it's attractive. If I'm trying to buy a residential property for myself for me to primary live in, and I see 2.5%. And earlier this year it was at 3.84%. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take it, I guess. Even if the house is $15,000 overpriced. One of the things, so you said finding the properties is the hardest part, but after that, you're not too worried when it comes to refinancing, because from my understanding is the banks find you bankable, being that when they do their own number crunch and they look, okay, this home is good for them as well. Do you plan on keeping these on 30-year mortgages, or do you plan to pay them off fast?
Nah, man, I want to drag it out, honestly, because that's the more money I'm going to make each month when I keep them down. If I have a 3 or 4% interest rate on a property, it's like, why pay it off if you can take that money that you would pay it off with and put it into another deal?
Okay. what's your threshold? At what point you're gonna kind of are you just always gonna do that? Like, are you
For
looking
now,
to?
I'm gonna do what works for me at least. For
Okay.
now, that's the plan, and then we'll kind of see what the future holds. But it's kind of hard to tell what I'm gonna do in the future right now.
Nah, but it seems like you make it you make it sound very casual, which I guess is it can be encouraging to people because I think they get kind of intimidated by the fact that I'm about to buy this home and what if I foreclose on it? And I think you hit it right on the head earlier by saying don't bite off more than what you can chew. Identify what your threshold is, and then go from there as far as evaluating what you can and cannot do. And it's more and more people are hearing stories about how you can scale up fairly quickly if you do it right, and you're doing it like like knocking on doors. You said you've made calls, you said you word of mouth, and that's good to know that that still works, because I think everybody's kind of like, hey, if you want to automate your system and do it only online, you can sit in your house all day, this is how you do it. um, but you're just using gas and your mouth,
Pretty
to
much,
get what you
man.
need to get
Yeah.
done.
When people ask what's the, your cheapest marketing tool is your mouth by far. I show people what I do every day too. That's a big thing. So if we're doing, sometimes we're doing 2 or 3 rehabs or getting 2 or 3 properties ready for, rent, or we got a wholesale deal going on. I don't do one deal and not let Facebook see it. Facebook's a huge, huge, huge marketing tool, and it doesn't cost anything but your time to do it and your effort to do it. So I always tell people, man, if you want to, if you want to succeed, if you want to throw everything you do out there on Facebook, every single thing, whether you own a barbershop, whether you own a nail salon, whether you're a real estate investor, show Facebook what you do. Because if they're seeing what you do, they're going to think about you when they come, when their aunt has a house for sale, or their cousins in foreclosure, or whatever the situation is. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me and send me deals through Facebook. Just, like an AC, I just got a $6,500 wholesale deal off a deal I know I would have never bought and rehabbed or nothing like that. It was like a $370,000 home from an AC guy who did AC work at this people's home, and they told him that he was selling it, and they said, hey, you should reach out to John. And he sent me his info. I went over there. I'm a licensed real estate agent as well. So I gave him the option to list it, or I gave him the option to buy it cash, or, I gave him a few options, and they're like, well, let's just see what you can do. I brought a cash buyer over there. We locked it up, and we actually just closed on it like a week ago. I was going to
What
list
made
it.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, so what made you get your real estate license?
A tool, man. It's another way to just, if I'm reaching out to a buyer, obviously I want to buy a house cash, and we want to make the most of it. But if we can't come to an agreement, or a seller wants, too much for a house that we want to pay to make a deal on, then we'll just list it. We tell them, hey, we're a licensed real estate agent. We always disclose that, whether we're buying it cash or whatever we're doing with the deal. And we get, like I said, we list 1 to 2, 3 deals a month just off having my license. So it's just a tool to have in my toolbox.
Yeah, and that's great because you save money on the you don't have to pay anybody commission. You're
Oh,
the real estate agent.
yeah, it's a negotiating tactic too, which I had never bought anything off market or on market. I bought one deal on the market, and it was actually showing pending, and I called it just in case. I was like, you never know, and I called them, and they said actually the deal just fell through 10 minutes ago. And I was like, I'm a cash buyer. You don't have to pay a buyer's agent, and we negotiated, and I use that as a little negotiation tool as well.
Interesting. Okay, that's definitely something I didn't I just learned, because I know I've heard a lot of investors being real estate agents, but I thought most of them I heard is because they say, hey, I make more money now. I make money off the commission, not, hey, you don't have to pay anything, and use that as a negotiating tool, because
Yeah,
everybody, I think
yeah,
anybody loves that.
yeah. Even if, like, right now we were looking to buy another house in our neighborhood, because we live on a lake here in Pinellas County, a pretty good sized lake. And we've always been wanting. We've been in our neighborhood for 4 years, and we've always wanted to be on the lake. Well, the house we were looking to buy was they listed at $595, and we went and offered them a cash price, but we let them know, hey, you don't have to pay an agent side. So 3% on 570,000 is damn near 15 grand,
Yeah.
or 2.5% is what they were paying. So it was like, I think it was like 13 or whatever the math was. But that helped us. That helped us in that situation. We didn't get the deal. We didn't end up buying it, but if we did, it would have saved us money, you know, because we had to negotiate. We were able to negotiate with it.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Because I was thinking about getting my license as well, but just for referrals. But now I will actually probably use that also as a bargaining tool because in the long run I'll make more doing that. Especially because out here we don't have homes. I mean, some homes are worth 600 grand, but most of the homes in this area is you're probably looking at 400 to 150.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Our average
150.
house, I think, in Pinellas County, I think we just went over. It was like almost 300,000 is your median price home here.
Yeah, same for here. I think the cool thing about our market is that I could find a triplex for 150, and then I can go maybe 15 minutes down the road and find a nice 3 bedroom, 2 bath for 150.
Yeah,
So the I don't know if it's like this in all the markets, but that is one thing I do like about this area. Now the hard part is the rents don't go up fast though. They're pretty steady every year. So finding that if for those of you that go by the 1% rule or the 2% rule, it's a little harder, but you can make it work. I think the challenge for me and what I want for next year is to find those off market deals because I bought mine two off of MLS and it
okay.
took me a while. It took me a while to do that, but it was a big vetting process. But I was using Deal Machine, and so you ever heard of Deal Machine before?
Yeah, I used Deal Machine for a while. I didn't get any deals off it, but I also wasn't, I wasn't really consistent with it either.
I guess it's because I don't want to spend 2 grand on 2,000 leads.
Yeah,
And I would prefer to handwrite those out. So I bought like 1,000 envelopes, and so after the beginning of this year, I'll be sending out about 1,000, envelopes to people. Hopefully getting a couple leads out of that. That will cross over. And then that was the plan too, was, hey, wholesale, or this could be something that we could use. Being that we got about a good sizable amount of equity in our primary home, and then the duplex I just told you about as well. So definitely interested in doing that in the long run. But I see that you've kind of insulated yourself to make money in multiple different ways. You got obviously your rental properties, you have your wholesale deals that you do, and then you also have the real estate agent side as well that you use as a bargaining tool, or you could make a profit off it as well when you list it. So you have definitely multiple ways of kind of, hey, well, if this don't work out, I could do it this way. If this don't work out, I could do it that way.
yeah,
And I think that's something good for people to learn. Learn is that, hey, look, don't just put your eggs all in one thing. Even though I do like buy and hold, but the money to buy those buy and holds got to come from somewhere.
for sure.
So
When these people,
uh,
when these people out here telling you don't need anything to get, a lot of people are like, you can make this, get started in real estate with $0, and they trying to sell you dreams, man. I'm telling people, you got to have some kind of funds, unless you just straight up get lucky and get out there and just start wholesaling deals and just. I mean, you got to have some kind of funds, whether it's your, you got to start with something. I
yeah,
don't try to sell anybody hopes and dreams. I'm telling, I like to tell them how it is, and it's like, don't quit your 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And just to say, hey, I'm going to quit my 9 to 5 and focus on real estate. Don't do it. Don't do it. Unless you have a real estate system set up that without a shadow of a doubt is going to pay you, because that 9 to 5 is going to pay you. Get it going. Get your real estate business going on the side. Grind extra hard, and then once you're ready, you're ready to make the leap. Make the leap. But a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to start wholesaling, or I'm going to just start doing this. It's not all glitter and gold, man. I tried it. Not saying I had a 9 to 5. The only time I ever worked a 9 to 5 was when I was, I think, 17 or 18 years old. It didn't really work out too well for me. You know,
but pretty much don't quit your day job though.
yeah,
In
don't
the
quit your
meantime,
day job. Yeah, some people, man. Like I said, I had a pretty troubled background growing up. So I came from pretty much nothing, um, and I did it all on my own. But I've been grinding since I was 15 years old. We used to go to the flea market and buy purses and knockoff purses, Louis Vuittons and Gucci purses, and sell them to nail salons and sell them on the corner over here in the hood and stuff like that. So like we literally just used to grind. That's all I ever did.
and so I appreciate you sharing that bit of a backstory about you because I think it kind of tells a story. kind of tells people like, hey, I've been grinding, and this is something that I transitioned over into my adult life, and look how it's worked out. And I think we are defined a bit by our past. We don't want it to haunt us, but it does shape us into the people that we are. And so you have that fire in you that keeps you going, because what you've been able to do in a few years is what people wish they could have done in 30.
Yeah,
And it's
it took
definitely
a while.
possible.
It definitely took a while, you know. I mean, like I said, I really started getting this real estate down pat. I would say 2 years ago, like really started getting it. My first house I ever bought, I was 21 years old. Not to buy it to invest or anything like that. I just needed a house. I wanted a house to live in. In
Yeah.
2011, the market was a pretty good time to buy, and I did well with it. I bought it, lived in it 4 years, and we made 120 grand on it after. So we lived in it for free for 4 years. I mean, pretty much. We lived in it and made 120,000 on it. So we did well on that. But it really took a while. It took a lot of, for me, it's not just like I jumped into real estate and just started doing good. It was the lessons of life I learned from when I was, I guess 12 years old, really, to 28 that really, and then I implemented all the stuff I used to do, back in the day, and like, the ambition and my fire, which was, no one was going to do it for me. I have to do it all for myself, and really focus on real estate, and really just focus on my chatterbox, man, just talking to people everywhere I go. If we're out at a restaurant and we hear people talking about real estate, I'm normally jumping in their conversation like, hey, not to be rude or nothing, but I heard you talking about possibly selling a home. Can you give me more information? I'm a cash buyer. I've got a deal like that. So just
Dang.
by talking. That's why I tell people, there's a program out there. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's called Wholesaling Inc. Brent Daniels and Tom Kroll.
No, never heard of it.
They have a slogan. It's TTP. It means talk to people, and they hit it on the head, man. And that's what I've always told people. Your cheapest marketing tool is your mouth. Just everywhere you go, just talk. As
I
much as
actually
you.
have a friend like that as well.
Yeah, some
He
people
does
don't
that.
want to. Some people are shy, more shy than others. But what's the worst they could tell you is no. Like I used to. I guess I've always had it because I had a little different lifestyle growing up. I really didn't. So I've always talked. I've always been a talker. I had to talk. If not, I wouldn't have got what I needed to get through life at a young age. So
I like the fact too that you said you post everything on Facebook, and it's not necessarily to brag, but it provides leads.
it does 100%. People, I had someone the other day they asked me why I did that. They're like, why do you post everything you post? Like I was like, and I didn't get offended by it, but I was like, why are you asking this question? Like, what, does it bother you? And I didn't say that, but I was like, I post everything on Facebook because I want people to know what I do. And I asked them, and the exact question I asked them was, if you can make an extra $10,000 to $15,000 a month off just posting, posts on Facebook of what you do, would you do that? And they didn't. They were silent. And I was like,
Yeah.
what do you do for work? Well, they work a 9-to-5 job. I don't even know where they work, but some people are like, oh, this guy posts this to do this. Like a lot of people think, hey, you're bragging. I'm not bragging. I'm making a check every month off posting shit on Facebook.
Yeah, and allows and it may inspire people as well, because like you said, people you came from humble beginnings, and people that may know you from that standpoint. Uh, my biggest thing is that I'm not going to say anybody can do it, because if it was anybody, then everybody be rich. But I will not allow, because I came from some humble beginners background as well. But what I will not allow is the mindset of that, hey, just because I may have came up in, tough times or below poverty does not mean I cannot become affluent later on in life. 90% of the people that are wealthy right now, millionaires, are actually first generation.
Yeah,
So they started from, some, little or nothing as well. It's just all about exposure and, making sure you put in that time. And I think that's the hard part people kind of run into is like, oh man, I got to do that. I'm out of my, that puts me out of my comfort zone. Talking to people, it makes me uncomfortable. So me personally, I don't like talking to random people, but I've had to get out of my comfort zone in order to maybe find that good contractor that I needed to turn over a unit before I get my next tenant.
for
Um,
sure.
Situations like that, or find a new property manager. So you got to find out and identify, hey, what are the things you're uncomfortable with that's holding you back from being successful in real estate, and then make that weakness your strength, and then you'll see things blossom. And as for you, opportunity continues to come to you because you're creating opportunity, and people they kind of gravitate towards that, which is why you continue to grow and grow and grow. And I wanted people to feel like and get an understanding, what you do, and how there are different ways to make money in the real estate game. And it's not just, oh, I had to have started off with millions of dollars in order to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely don't need $1 million to do it. Normally, if somebody has $1 million, I don't know, if you start off with $1 million, you might end up blowing it before you invest in real estate. Some of people's mindsets nowadays.
And I like the fact you also talked about the couple that are retiring. My father is similar. He's in his 50s, and he approached me about that. Like, hey, look, I want to be able to expedite my Roth IRA. And so if I invest in you and make 10% interest, or whatever the case may be, I'll be able to speed that up a bit, because I want to retire by the time I'm 65 or sooner than that. And then doing your normal contributions towards your Roth IRA that gives you anywhere from 4% to 8%, and which is actually kind of going to be a little lower now because we've had our bull market for 11 years straight now. It's going to be a little tougher for those people that are going to turn 60 in the next 10 years. So I think this is a good alternative for anybody that's older, looking to retire faster, and being that the bull market is coming to a halt. I think that's actually pretty dope, because especially once you have that relationship, and this is a people game, obviously, right? Because this ain't happening without talking to people and gaining relationships with people. And I
Yeah,
think
for
that's just
sure.
pretty cool.
For sure.
So with all that encompassed, man, what do you consider your rich state of mind? Why do you get up every day and do what you do? And obviously what you do is extraordinary. So what gives you that drive?
Man, giving my kids a good life. I have 3 sons. I have a 6-year-old. I have a almost 2-year-old, and I got a 4-month-old son. And I want to be able to provide for them, man. I want to be able to travel the world with them in the next couple years, and just them, really, it's my kids, my fiance, being able to provide, give them a good life, be able to send them to school. My oldest goes to a private school. We're blessed to be able to send them to school because it ain't cheap. Just being able to give them a good life, I would say, is definitely my drive. Those kids.
Awesome, man. I could definitely relate to that too, because for my kids as well, I try not to overcompensate, but I definitely don't want them to live the life that I did coming up. And so, that's part of the reason why I still have my 9 to 5, right? I'm still in the military while I work on, real estate investing. But definitely, man, I could feel you on that one. Uh, do you plan on having your kids get involved in real estate, or you kind of want them to figure out whatever they want to do as they come up?
Yeah, whatever they want to do, man. I'm not really. My goal isn't to hand them everything at all. A lot of people are like, I plan to just hand everything over to my kids. That's, they're gonna have to work for what they're gonna want in life. So we'll have to just see what route they want to go. My oldest plays football. He swears he wants to be in the NFL right now. So hey, he might just go to the NFL.
All right.
We'll see what life brings, at that time. But I definitely teach him right now. I teach him about money, stuff like that. He earns money. He does chores. He's 6 years old. I think he's got like $300 saved up right now. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
So he's racking up for his first property by the time he's
yeah. So
18.
I'm definitely teaching him, about money and the responsibilities of money and stuff like that. But I'm gonna I'm gonna let them do their thing and see what they want to do. I'm not the type to really force them to go one special way because I did. And I definitely don't want them to live the life I went through
Nah,
either.
that makes sense. That makes sense.